Hi everyone, we're Unseen Tours. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to be here today. We're really excited to share with you Unseen Tours, our story, a bit about what we do and our history. I'm Jenny, I'm tour coordinator for the Camden tour at Unseen Tours and director. And this is Pete, who is one of our brilliant tour guides. And we'll hand over to Pete in a minute to give you a bit of an insight into his Brick Lane tour, which is one of 4 tours that we have running in London at the moment. So to start off, so who are we? So we're a volunteer-driven, not-for-profit social enterprise that offers tours around London, run by formerly homeless and vulnerably housed guides. So our tours aim to offer unique insights into some of London's social and cultural quirks, and where homelessness topics are covered, give an insight into some of the state of the world as it is and insight into some of the social injustices that exist. So how do we operate? Guides often are recommended to us from other organisations, or they hear about us from our current guides, or they come on a tour because they've seen our tours operating in the area. We co-construct every element of our tours with our guides to really show their personality, creativity, and their resourcefulness. We build a relationship with our guides, and they propose what they would like to cover in their tour, what personal stories they would like to have in there, because they are the best. They have the best knowledge of the area that they're working in. So we are not a charity, we're a social enterprise, so 60% of the revenue goes directly to the tour guides themselves, and then remaining revenue is used to cover essential operating costs, and then any profit is used to reinvest back into the enterprise to either expand our existing tours currently on offer, reach out to new guides, marketing purposes, etc. So one of the main values that we have is to challenge the perceptions and stereotypes surrounding homelessness. So we do this by facilitating interactions between people from different walks of life who might not otherwise have a chance to connect in a meaningful way. So we want to revolutionize perceptions surrounding homelessness by really cutting through the stereotypes and the stigmas surrounding homelessness. And I think it's important here to highlight what we're not. So we're not part of this poverty tourism agenda. We're not wanting to voyeuristically or superficially point out, say, socially or economically deprived areas and the people within them. Crucially, our tours are about homeless, are not of the homeless people, but are with them. So this is an important distinction, as this reverses the power balance between our homeless guides and mainstream society, as the guides are the voices of authority who lead the tour. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Pete, who's going to give you a bit of an insight into his Brick Lane tour. This is one of 4 tours that we have running at the moment. Others are Shoreditch, Camden, and London Bridge. So over to you, Pete.
Thank you, Jen. She's one of our great volunteers. If you want to volunteer, we do need some more with different skills, not just as directors, but marketers and everything. So yeah, I do the Brick Lane tour. Right there. Yeah, so look at the screen, not me, please. I've been homeless around Brick Lane for about 8 years now. In the summer in the streets, so I like it outdoors, and in the winter mostly in squats. But last December I was picked up by a street outreach team, and now I'm in a hostel, and hopefully before Christmas I'll get my own flat. I'm actually going to take you on a whistle-top tour of Brick Lane. The area it's in is actually just on the border of Spitalfields and Whitechapel. Brick Lane splits those in 2. When we get to Whitechapel, because we actually meet at Aldgate Station, which is in the city, and there's a short walk to Whitechapel, to Altabali Park, where in the 1970s there was a horrific murder by the National Front. Altabali was stabbed over 100 times. And there was a massive demonstration, and The Clash played, and a few other post-punk bands, and it turned out that over 30,000 people turned up for this demo. Then they had a march to 10 Downing Street where they handed in a petition with over 100,000 signatures. From this, the Race Relations Act was formed and the NS was smashed. A lot of the tour, about 40% of the tour, is street art. Brick Lane is very, very famous for street art. There's even a Banksy, that's where we finish up. But he's not even in my top 20 artists. This guy is Jimmy C from Adelaide, Australia. Any Aussies in the house? Hey, he's from Adelaide. Adelaide? No? Melbourne? Melbourne. Yeah, you look too healthy to be from Adelaide. Yeah, this is a portrait of Joe and his kid, which was commissioned when Joe Jr. there, the little girl, by her to Jimmy C when her father died. It was a very poignant piece and very beautiful painted in pointillism. Further along, we go to the oldest building on Brick Lane that's still in use, the Christchurch Primary School. It's actually got a cemetery underneath it with 21 dead bodies under there. And if you want to know more, come on the tour. Shock One, another one of my favourite artists. To stand out in street art, you do have to have your own technique and your own style. Jimmy C's got pointillism. Obviously, this is X-ray. And you've never heard of these artists, have you? About halfway through the tour, we get to the Brick Lane Great Mosque, as it says there. Before that, it was a synagogue, and before that, it was a Protestant church with a long and twisted history. Rudinsky's Room. This is about a book I read by a local teacher who found out her grandfather was kept as a slave because he's a master silk weaver. One night he escaped his room naked and was found smashing windows on, at Spitalfields Market. Very interesting story. My favourite actual artist there, Stick. Anyone recognise those figures? Stick? You seen them around? Yeah. He's from England, but he won't tell anyone where he's from because when he's 16, his dad kicked him out for being gay. And now he's an internationally famous, successful artist who's a millionaire. On the right there's another one of my favourites, Osh. And like I said, to stick out in the street art field or any art, you've got to be good and have your own style. My local shop. I've been going there for years, since it opened. So I was really amazed to find out that in 1797, it actually opened as the first soup kitchen in Britain, right there. The first ever. Wow. Banksy, this is where we finished the tour. Yes, that purple car there is a Banksy. Yeah, I'm always underwhelmed. Oh, sorry, it's a Match Girl Strike first, sorry. I was looking on the wrong thing. All right, sorry, Match Girl Strike. Anyone heard of this? Yeah? In 1888, just before Jack the Ripper murders, which are on the tour as well, of course, some match girls went on strike and, changed history, basically. It's also why you call a strike. You strike a match. Here's the Banksy. Yeah, that purple car there was originally on Brick Lane. Now it's in a courtyard at the back of the Truman Brewery. And in 2010, they bought it for £1 million. Wow, just because it's a Banksy. And I do have a market stall on Brick Lane now. I've got two jobs. If you've ever been to Brick Lane, you'll know this stall. Lucha Libre, anyone? No? Okay. Mexican wrestling to you and me. So come and visit me, even if you don't come on the tour. Well, that's all for now. Do you have any questions? Anything?
Any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Any questions? I'll just ask one last question. Okay, great. There we go.
How do you think tourism and the work you have been doing has improved the way of life or maybe the self-esteem of people in Brick Lane like you or elsewhere in London?
Very good question. Financially, of course, it's changed, but one of our main points really is to change perception of people who are homeless. I mean, not all of us are smelly tramps. I know it's bad to say that. And not all of us are crackheads and smackheads as well. Although I do talk about that on the tour and the social reasons for it.
Thank you.
And one of the things...
Okay, we're going to move on because we've got one more talk to get in before 10:30. Do you want to say something? Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
No, we'll say it because they're setting up, so go ahead.
Perfect. Oh, so it was just to say that as one of the parts of challenging these stereotypes and perceptions surrounding homelessness, how Unseen Tours came about. We were inspired by an informal volunteer network called Sock Mob, who run weekly tours around London or walks to engage with people on the streets using the ice-breaking power of just giving a pair of socks. And we were really inspired by the voices that we'd spoken to on these tours and the resourcefulness and creativity of these people that often don't have access to paid opportunities available then to harness all of these skills. So that's how our organisation was born.